Skytypers, sponsored by GEICO Insurance. The squadron is comprised of 6 North American SNJ aircraft built to train World War II military pilots to fly combat aircraft. GEICO Insurance assisted these pilots, and here they come overhead. Let's watch for the smoke. Larry Arkin's in the lead with all 5 of their aircraft coming right overhead. Here come the pilots. This highlights one of the most basic formations taught to all military pilots. The 6 aircraft act as one, allowing large numbers of aircraft to fly through busy skies. The Delta formation has the flight leader at the front of it, with his wingman and element flight leaders taking their positions behind them. As the aircraft perform today, let me introduce the pilots to you. Leading the flight, Larry Arkin with Steve Kapoor. At right wing is Jim Reckert. Left wing is Rob Steele. Slot position, Bob Johansson. The lead solo, Steve Salmers, and the wing solo is Tom Daly. GEICO Insurance stands for Government Employees Insurance Company, which was established in 1936 to provide military members and federal employees with the best insurance coverage possible. You might not be able to, I tell you what, as you see these aircraft, understand that they weigh 5,500 pounds each, and they use a 600 horsepower, 9-cylinder Pratt & Whitney radial engine. Now, as we release 2 pilots, watch them as they cross at show center right into each other's paths with the smoke on. The solos have crossed now, and they are setting up to clear the area behind them. Now, after identifying, they're looking to find a bogey, which is an unidentified aircraft that may be a threat. And after identifying the threat as a bandit, the solos are now in position to demonstrate their next maneuver, the opposing solo 2-circle guns pass. When 2 aircraft engage in air-to-air maneuvering, they attempt to pass as close as possible to one another with 2 options. Maneuver for the advantage or escape to safety. Turning towards each other with both aircraft in separate or 2 circles as each tries to outturn its opponent. Diving for energy now. They're inbound at over 320 miles per hour. They'll pitch up as they get close to one another and roll into each other, passing canopy to canopy just 50 feet apart. There's the bonus. As the solos clear, I want you to watch for the rest of the formation to the front and to the left of show center. They will show you another basic skill that is taught to our men and women in flight school, something known as a turning rejoin. You can see it right now. When aircraft are separated for some reason, such as with individual takeoffs, they need to get back together or rejoin to continue with the mission. The method they're using here is to have the lead make a turn and each of the wingmen turn inside him to fly a shorter distance. The pilots must know where each other is and how to maneuver their aircraft to get on board as quickly and as safely as possible. They're going to rejoin into the diamond formation. Now that they've rejoined, they're going to treat you to a diamond S or a snake pass. You'll get a good view of the aircraft and the formation as they wind their way in front of you, changing from belly up to canopy up. Flying these World War II aircraft requires an unusual set of skills. Skytyper pilots must be able to fly large tail-wheeled aircraft as well as being accomplished formation pilots. It's not always easy to find the right match, and the majority of the pilots here today are former Navy and Air Force pilots. That's the diamond formation. In the Navy, the aircraft is on the lead, the 2 aircraft is on the right wing, the 3 aircraft is on the left wing, and the slot pilot is number 4. Now, please focus your attention once again as the solos come head-to-head from the right and the left for the solo 1-circle guns pass. The difference between this and a 2-circle pass is that both aircraft will turn in the same direction. You can see them working their way in from the right and the left. They are lead solo Steve Salmers and wing solo Tom Daly. This type of air-to-air turning engagement is used when one aircraft has superior maneuvering ability or to take advantage of a mistake. Just prior to crossing, lead solo will pitch up and roll too early, allowing his opponent to fly high and behind him, an obvious advantage. Lead will then make another mistake and reverse course trying to escape. This only makes it easier for his attacker to maneuver into a gun-time position, or as they say, at his 6 o'clock. There's the turn now. Watch as they get maneuvered here, and you will see Steve Salmers now in a bad position as Tom Daly maneuvers behind him at his 6 o'clock. We're directly behind him. He's popping smoke now, indicating a simulated guns firing on the aircraft in front. Now as he gets those guns going, we'll see some smoke coming out of the lead aircraft, Steve Salmers, as he acknowledges that he has been hit. Watch as the lead aircraft jinks back and forth to try to stay out of trouble. That wonderful growl you hear is not just the sound of the engine, but actually the sound of the propeller tips going supersonic at about 2,500 revolutions per minute. Now, if you will, look straight ahead for another formation change, although this one is very unique and demanding. The diamond you just witnessed a moment ago has gone from flat to vertical. The references the wingmen must use have changed. They now have to look almost straight up as lead, once again, becomes their world. Watch as the vertical diamond approaches, then peels off or breaks down the runway into a trail or one behind the other formation. Smoke on for the GEICO Skytypers. In the lead, Larry Arkin, right wing, Jim Record, left wing, Rob Steele, and slot, Bob Johansson. Here come the GEICO Skytypers once again. There's the break. One's out, two's out, that's the right wing, then three, and then four. Now, if you look again straight ahead, you will see the Solos approaching for a simulated bomb run. To attack a target, you must sometimes stay low under radar coverage, fly to a point that's been pre-identified through map study, pull up sharply to acquire the target, and then gain enough altitude to drop your bombs. Oh, and that's not all. Different climb angles and attack directions help confuse the gunners on the ground, so they stay low. Watch them. They do what is called a pop-up maneuver. You will see the two solo pilots, Steve Salmers and Tom Daly. There's the pop-up, and watch them roll in on the target. This is the Solos bomb run. The Solos will exit the team now, clearing their 6 or directly behind them and search for the formation. In the military, a flight of 2 aircraft is the smallest element to fly, pass them by. The formation they're rejoining to is a very famous one. It's called the echelon, or all-to-one-side formation. Anybody who stays up late to watch World War II movies will see aircraft rolling in on the target or enemy aircraft from an echelon formation. Today, the military uses the echelon to line up for a break-to-landing maneuver either over an airport or on board a ship. Once together, all 6 aircraft will break off individually, simulating a strafing attack on the same ground target the Solos have just bombed. There's the echelon. This is very, very difficult to maintain, and the GEICO Skytypers are doing it very well. Larry Arkin, Jim Record, Rob Steele, Bob Johansson, Steve Salmers, and Tom Daly. The smoke is on now. Let's watch as they break in for the straight run. 5,500 pounds each. These airplanes powered by a mere 600 horsepower Pratt & Whitney radial engine. Over 22,000 of these types of aircraft were built. Exiting to your left, flight lead will reform the squadron with yet another rejoin, only this time into the GEICO Skytyper fan formation. Today, these aircraft have taken on a new role of writing giant messages in the sky, which they call Skytypers. Ready, break, here comes the fan pass. Exciting opportunity to place these magnificent World War II two icons indelibly in your minds and camera. By the way, the smoke that you saw being flown and distributed by the GEICO Skytypers as they work their way in from the right now is actually an environmentally friendly light paraffin-based oil that's approved by the FAA and injected into the exhaust stacks of these engines. And it's used in the concrete forming industry and keeps the forms from sticking to the concrete. Ladies and gentlemen, from the right, keep your eyes on the GEICO Skytypers. Let's give them a nice round of applause as they bring number 3 race, Rob Seal. Number 4, the slot pilot, there's Bob Johansson. Number 5, Steve Somers is up. And number 6, Tom Daly pitches up. And there you have them, the GEICO Skytypers.
Mira, mira, esta foto
Now, as the GEICO Skytypers reset, I want to introduce you to a gentleman who flew a little bit earlier today. And we'll be meeting Dale Snodgrass in a minute, and we'll have something to talk to him about as they do. But every successful air show performance must end with a successful landing. And notice that the aircraft have formed into a single line. They've extended their landing gear, and they're going to aim for the same point on the runway and land on alternate sides. As we mentioned earlier, the Skytypers are sponsored by GEICO Insurance. Stop by and talk with the pilots at the GEICO tent after they land and get a signed picture and some neat gecko gifts. Remember, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more at geico.com. Also, check out their new website at www.geicoskytypers.com for this and other shows flown by the Skytypers. They'll be taxiing by. You'll get a chance to see them as they set up for landing. And with me here is the gentleman who flew the P-51 Mustang, Dale Snodgrass. Dale, landing a T6 or an SNJ as the Navy calls it. That's not an easy task, is it?
No, it isn't. It takes a lot of. It's funny as you go through time. The old pilots who flew the T6s and the P-51, they're actually a lot harder to fly than the modern jets. The weapon systems are a lot more complicated now, but the pure flying skills are a lot harder. That's why I can only fly a Mustang now. It's a lot better, more experience.
But you had all those hours in the Tomcat, and I told the people about that picture of you going by the aircraft carrier in 90 degrees of bank. The rules that apply here for 500 feet or 1,000 feet or 1,500 feet separation from the crowd don't apply at sea, do they?
No, that's a nice thing being a Navy pilot, when you can bring your own airport out 30 miles off the coast where the show line is actually the side of the ship, and you can go supersonic.
So you were actually flying that Tomcat 90 degrees of bank within about 100 feet of the side of the ship?
Well, it's more like about 30 feet from the side of the ship.
Holy cow.
But I started from behind and to the right of the ship, and then sort of came around the fantail, and then about amidships pulled up. And I didn't get in trouble. It was all part of the blessed air show.
Part of the deal. You were in charge of all the Tomcats at that point anyway, right?
No, I was a squadron commanding officer at the time, but then subsequent to that, I got promoted and took over the command of all the F-14s.
Excellent, excellent. Well, stay with me for just a minute because we got more to talk to you about as we just want to thank some more of the great sponsors on our this year's show who have made it possible. We surely want to thank Pohanka Saturn. They have dealerships in Bowie and Waldorf and Marlow Heights. You can come register to win a free Saturn Sky convertible. Active and reserve military qualified for special Saturn discounts. You can go to the Pohanka Saturn display for all the details. Should you be driving the Pohanka Saturn? U-Storage offers service and solutions guaranteed to make your self-storage experience stress-free. We're a customer-oriented storage company with over 400 self-storage facilities across the United States.